Yeah, so this is a really good question as far as wondering like how emotional intelligence impacts your sales team. And here's one thing that I just want to get clear out of the way. I am never a proponent of dog eat dog sales teams. When one wins, we all win. And I'm going to share the story of why I'm a firm believer of this and how this impacted this team. I was working with this team. We were sitting around the conference room. There were two people that were newly onboarded. And their sales, the president of the sales was sitting at the table with us. And he was directing them and asking them questions. And I'm just listening in on the meeting right at this point, getting a lay of the land. I was new with this team. We're just discovering how they operate and how they work, right? Well, what he wanted to work on was what was everybody's vision. And as he went around the room and asked everybody what their vision was, everybody pipes up and they all provide some kind of an answer that has something to do with monetary advantage, where I want to buy that house, or I want the yacht so my friends and I can all go play on it, or I want to be able to take vacations all the time. And the president of sales was sitting there and is like, okay, cool. They're giving him these one-word answers, and he's like, okay, moving on to the next, moving on to the next, moving on to the next. Well, now mind you, we've got two people that are new to this sales team. They're trying to meet quotas. They can't quite figure it out. Excuse me, the challenge is with the rest of the team, they were not really willing to help this guy reach his goals, okay? And so as they got done and he was wrapping up this vision, what's your vision conversation with his team, I was like, whoa, like, hold the phone here just a minute. Like, do you mind, you guys, we're going to go like 10, 15 minutes over on this meeting, but there's this burning issue in my gut that I've got to address with you guys. Do I have your permission to have this conversation right now real fast? And of course, they're all on board, okay? So I had pinpointed one of the new guys and I said, hey, listen, he had chosen what he had said. He's like, I want that acreage in the house. And I had said to him, I was like, well, why do you want that acreage in the house? And he was like, well, my wife, like, we've got two young kids. We've just got a baby. But when my older daughter wants to go out and play, we're in a condo right now. So she can't, my daughter either can't go out and play, or she has to wake the baby, or there's all kinds, or she puts her in front of the TV too much. There were all these reasons where he's like, it's really inconvenient to have to go down 3 floors just so she can go outside and kick the ball, right? Like, my wife can't just send her downstairs by herself. She's 3 years old. She's got to maintain this baby. She's got to maintain the home. She's got to keep eyes on both of them, all these things. I said, oh, okay, cool. Well, that makes sense. So why does acreage solve that problem for you? And he's like, we've got the acreage. He's like, this is something I grew up on. And he started kind of going back in his memory. He's like, I remember when I was growing up, like, my wife could have, like, we had, like, the garden, we had the orchard, we had the trees, we could go pluck. And my wife could be out there doing these things that she loves while both the kids are outside playing, while she's got an eye on both of them. Or she could have the monitor because she's close enough, even if the baby is inside sleeping, she could still be outside doing her thing. And I was like, okay, so, and what are you doing in this? Like, I'm painting this picture for him. I was like, what are you doing in this scenario? He's like, I'm on the tractor. And he knew exactly what he was doing. It's like, I'm on the tractor and I'm taking care of things, and I'm taking care of the orchard, and I'm moving dirt around, or doing whatever we got to do to make this our slice of heaven. And I said, there it is. I said, what does this slice of heaven give you? And he sat back for a minute and he goes, it gives me peace. It gives me comfort to know that I'm caring for my family, that we're safe, that they're safe, that the kids can go out and play by themselves, and there's not going to be some stranger that's going to roll by and take them. It radically increases the safety that I have for my family, and it gives us this sense of peace. Now we were to the core of his emotional vision. Now we're to the core of what's really driving him. And if you and your sales teams aren't doing this together, and you're not discovering what other people's visions are, you're unwilling to help each other, and it does become a dog eat dog. Now I asked the question to the room. I said, okay, you guys, now that you know why, we'll just say Bob, why Bob is here, and now you know what is driving him to get this income, are you all a little bit more apt to help him get to that vision? Because see, what he did in that moment is he got everybody else in that room bought in on his vision. Now everybody is interested in his vision, and everybody's now willing to help him achieve his goal while they're all succeeding. And when you do this right with the sales team, if you've got someone who's, say, a controller versus someone who's an analyzer, you're going to hand off the opposite sales person to the people, the client, that they get along better with. If I have a client that comes to me me that's a total analyzer, I send that to my sales team. I'm not having that phone call. I'm not great at talking with the analyzers. It's not easy for me. It's not my bent. It doesn't come naturally for me. They can articulate the same value. We're gonna give the same value, but they can articulate the value to a way that that analyzer understands in a much better way that I can't. And when you start operating your sales teams like that, and you set the precedence for that within your organization, that's when your sales are going to go through the roof. But it all requires emotional intelligence.